Okay, good morning, good afternoon, whatever it may be. Today we're going to do some zombification. We're going to take beautiful pictures and turn them into zombies. Before we start, I have a folder here. I should have named it zombies, but I just want to show you. Inside I've got a few pictures of faces. I've got some blood. I've got pictures of wounds. I've got a picture of some cracked earth. I've got a haunted house, some more faces, so you can choose which face you want to use. I've got these really cool pictures of flaking paint and flaking rust, which we're going to use a lot of. So here's one example of a previous effort, and there was another few examples down here of some previous efforts. Okay, so that's what we're aiming for. So before you start, make sure you've got all your images in one folder. Make sure you name your folder correctly. So I might change it now. We'll make it the zombie folder. And that's what we're working with. So today we're working with Photoshop. So here's Photoshop. Remember, your Photoshop looks slightly different to mine, but regardless, you're going to go File, Open, and we're going to go straight to the images. So here's my zombie folder, and we're going to find the image of the girl, which I haven't done anything to. There it is. Open. As you can see, it's quite a lovely picture. Now before we start, there's a few things we want to do. We want to first of all take the padlock off this bottom layer. We then want to duplicate the layer, so we've got an original. So right click, duplicate layer, new layer. We're just going to call it our zombie. Okay, and the bottom layer is our, we might as well name it, this is girl 1. Alright, now because we're going to leave this one as it is, we can put the padlock back on. And we don't need to see it, so we'll turn that off. We'll go to our zombie. Alright, so that's the first step. The next step we want to do is we want to add some cracked skin. Okay, so File, Open. Now I'm just looking for my cracked skin. There it is. Open it up. As you can see at the top, it's on a different page. And before we do anything else, we might actually save our work. So click on your beautiful person, whether it be a man or woman, and go File, Save As, and call it, I'm going to call it Example 3 or 4 because I've already got a few examples there. Notice how it's got PSD, that means it's a Photoshop file, format Photoshop file. If you save it as a Photoshop file, it means you can go back into it whenever you want and it'll come up with everything you've done beforehand. So it'll have all your layers and all the edits you've done. If you don't save it as a Photoshop file, it's going to be a lot harder for you to do more work on it later on. Okay, so now we're actually going to start. So here's our cracked skin. We've got to take the padlock off. Just click it. Select the Move tool, top left. As you can see, if I hold down the mouse, I can now move my cracked earth. So what I want to do is slowly move my cracked earth up to my example layer. Still got my hand on the mouse, my finger. Move on to the middle of my picture and let go of the mouse button. And voila, there's my cracked earth. So I want to zoom out. As you can see, my cracked earth picture is massive. So I might hold down Shift and shrink it. Doesn't have to be exact as long as it covers your picture. So there it is. By holding down Shift, you keep the dimensions. If you don't hold down Shift, you do this kind of thing, and it looks really, really bad. But if you Control Z to undo, you hold down Shift and it keeps those dimensions, alright? Notice how it's not going really thin. So, I'm happy with that. In fact, I might make it a little bit bigger because this area over here has got this nicer cracks. So, I'm happy. I can now go up the top, and this is my original cracked earth. I'm just going to close it. Don't need it again. Don't save anything. So here's my work. It's always a good idea to save it on a regular basis, so save. Obviously, I want to make some changes. I cannot see my face. Very, very simple. Opacity down on the bottom right. Set the opacity to maybe 50. Okay? Voila. Wasn't hard, was it? Next thing we want to do is to change our blend to multiply. Okay? So I'm going to zoom in and see how that is. So we'll check that again. So it was normal before, and now we're going to make it multiply, and this will combine the layers a little bit more. So that's looking pretty good. I'm happy with that. Okay, so next thing we want to do is we'll just have a play with, oh no, we'll add a layer mask. Now on this layer mask, we're just going to very quickly remove the cracks that are going through her teeth, because obviously they wouldn't go through her teeth. They might go through her lips, we'll see how it looks, and maybe not going through her eyes as well. So, zoom in so you can see what you're doing. Can't stress how important it is to keep zooming. You're going to have to use the zoom button, which is over here, and just click, and if you press the Alt button it goes out. So see the plus, the minus. So I've zoomed in, I've got a layer mask. I'm going to grab my rubber, my eraser tool, and see how my brush is massive. I need to go and change that on the top. I'm just going to make it 19 or 14 will do, that's fine. And I'm just going to rub out the cracks going over her teeth. Okay, now I could use the quick selection tool for this, but it's a very small area, and in all honesty I can probably do a great job just with the eraser. So I'm obviously going to have to change the size of my brush and make it smaller. Can't stress this enough, guys. To do your work well in Photoshop, no matter what you're doing, whether it's editing nice photos for a portrait or doing something fun like making yourself look like a zombie, if you are constantly moving in and out, zooming, okay, and selecting the right size brush for the job, at the end you will have a much better image. Okay, if you can't be bothered to change the size of your brush and you can't be bothered to zoom out, don't complain when it doesn't look very good at the end. Alright, so I've done my teeth. I might go up here and do the eyes. Obviously no cracks can go through the eyes, so I'm just going to do the corners with my little brush, and then I'm just going to grab a big brush. There's 1, 2 corners. Change the brush, make it, there we go. Oh, it's just a little bit too big. So, there we go. I'm using a touchpad, which makes life a little bit harder for me. I should have brought a mouse. Alright, so my eyes are better now, and it's up to you about the lips. Let's just remove this and see. Yeah, to be honest, I'm going to leave it there. Cracks can go through the lips. Alright, so now we have a cracked face. Next, we're going to remove the sides, okay? So we want to make it a white background. Select the quick selection tool, okay? It's the 4th one down. I should have said at the beginning, if your screen doesn't look like mine, always go Windows, workspace Essentials default, okay? That will bring all the screens and panels back where they are. If you can't see, for example, your history layer or your layers layer or your color layer, you just click them here, okay? And you can add more. So that's what we need for now. I have the Essentials workspace. Here's the history. If you can't see the history, it's just hiding behind here, okay? Last thing, you won't have this libraries panel because you're not allowed it. Queensland Education says you're not allowed to use cloud storage, okay? So you don't have that. Alright, back to the lesson. Quick selection tool. I'm just holding down the mouse button and I'm moving down the side, and you'll see how the fuzzy line is getting closer and closer to her. Now it didn't really go, it went a bit far on the ear, see? So you can turn it into a minus by pressing Alt, move back around, and it's not going to be good enough, so I'll just delete that. I'm just going to get a big fat, I'll see what I can do down here. See, it's going into the skin, not happy, so select, deselect, grab a rubber, so my eraser tool, make it nice and big for this because it's a lot easier to use a big brush, even bigger. Alright, so I've got 360, I'm just going to brush away. Oops, I went a bit far there. So her ear is there, don't forget. So there you go. As you can see, it's not erasing any of the hair. It's only erasing the background. I have to go in, but very quickly. Alright, smaller brush. And well, that is a ear. I think on the last one I did, I actually deleted it. But we'll leave it in. She's got big ears. Now I should go in and make my brush even smaller and get these little bits. That's far too small. Remember guys, the more time you take on these little steps, the better it will look at the end, okay? So if this is your assessment, put a bit of effort in. Alright, so there we have it. We have a cracked face. So that's step number 1 of zombifying ourselves, okay? Next we're going to have a little look at the levels. So you should know this. If we press our yin yang on the bottom right, delete that bit. If you press the yin yang in the bottom right, we can go to levels and we see a histogram of the colors. So we're looking at a zombie picture. So I don't know about you, but zombie pictures are usually dark. So let's play with these levels. So this is the dark side, as you can see, it gets a little bit darker straight away. So maybe just a little bit darker. But what I'm most interested in is making these whites not quite as light. So leave that there, and this middle one we want to bring, no, I don't know. So have a play. I think we'll leave it there. And I just tried that, but I don't recommend it. Okay, we might leave it there. So, next we want to add another image. So we're happy. We're going to go File, Save, File, Open, and we're looking for something to add. So we might add this rusty stuff first. I haven't used this one before, so let's give it a go. Open. Alright, it's got Shutterstock because I benched this off the internet, but when we put it on, you're not going to be able to see it because we're going to lower the opacity. First thing, padlock. Next thing, grab your image, move it up, let it go. So we'll get rid of that original, close it, don't want to save it, no I do not. So here it is, we're going to make it small. So we're going to probably aim at sticking this here, alright? But we're going to make sure we can see her eye, her lips and her nose. So we might make it smaller again. We'll aim at putting it there. Alright, so we're happy with it there. Tick it. You can see it's automatically adding layers. So we've got a new layer, and we should do the right thing and name these. So this is Rust 1, alright? And this layer is going to be Cracked Earth. So we'll just call it Earth. Alright, so go back to layer Rust 1, and the first thing we need to do is what we did last time, which is add a layer mask. And now we're going to change the opacity. And it's about playing around and getting it right. Now remember, our goal here is zombie, so we're looking at something rather ugly. So I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to go and grab, see what the quick selection tool does. It probably won't be any help, but no help at all. So grab an eraser, select, deselect, eraser, get a massive brush. And we'll do this. Why is it doing that? So you can see what I've done here. I'm on the wrong layer. So Control Z, history, deselect, delete, yes. Alright, select, deselect. So go back and delete that section. Alright, so I'm on the wrong layer, so make sure I'm on the correct layer and just delete that. Now what we might do is we'll zoom in here and fix up this area. So we'll get a small brush, maybe 20, 17. First of all, we'll do the teeth. I'll just see how it looks. So we will make these teeth look ugly as all hell later on. Don't you worry about that. Alright, so now we have to make a decision. And I think it'd be better if we got rid of that so we could see the lips. It's a matter of opinion. I know we had the cracks going for the lips already, so probably don't need too much. That's the business. How far away these lips go. obviously takes a while. Probably need a bit more. Not that. Start it again. So I'm just pressing Control Z, so I did a bit much. I'll do it again. I'll just leave it as it is. I'm going to zoom out. Alright, so we're getting some really ugly shots happening. So tidy up the sides around the ear. Now guys, you can use any picture you want. I've chosen rusting paint, peeling paint, because it just looks disgusting to me. But maybe, so I'm just going to tidy up this nose area. So select a brush like this one, which is not very hard, okay? Make it big. And I'm just pressing it once at a time. Just one click. So I want it to kind of blend. I'm liking what I see now. So I'm going to go over the edges so that rusting paint kind of blends in. You can see a bit of those cracks, especially down here. You want, yeah. Alright, so I'm liking this. It's looking really, really hideous. Alright, so that's one picture. And we can just see, test it, multiply. No, I liked it. No, to be honest. Try that. Dissolve effects. Linear bone. So it's always good to play around with this stuff. But to be honest, I think it was alright as it was. So overlays difference. No, so we're just going to go to normal. I like that. So there we have it. There's your second image. We're going to add another one very quickly. So File, Open, and oops. What do we have? I haven't used this. So Open. This is a very small image. We should just be able to grab it straight away. Oops. Convert it to a normal layout or unlock it, which is what we wanted to do. But before we do that, we might just crop it. So, open. Alright, so grab our crop tool, get rid of the white. Click the tick button at the top. We didn't crop it enough, so we'll just move it over again. I'll do it. Grab your move tool, and we're just going to move it straight up to here and let go. So here it is. And where would we like to put it is the question. I know I hate having a zit or anything on my chin, so we're going to go there. Right, it's a nice size already. So what we need to do is change the opacity and blend it in a bit. So we might make this a bit stronger. Alright, so we've got it there. Next we want to do what we've done before. Create a layer mask. Grab a razor. We're going to grab one of these soft brushes again, and we're going to make it a big brush. See how it's not very hard? And we'll just one tap at a time start blending that in. So get that jawline happening. Keep pressing until you can see it, and then we'll just make sure you can something over the lip, and see how it's just slowly finding its way in. I like that. If you think it's a bit hard, you could try one on the top, and it's a big mistake. Alright, so there you have it. There's another piece. So you could go on doing this all day long, okay? So we might try just doing another blood filter. So closing the last image. Don't save it. Save your work, so file, save, file, open, and let's try this. Alright, so first thing we need to do here is we need to get rid of the white areas. So quick select tool, and just select the white area and press delete. Why didn't that work? Okay, delete this bit. Alright, grab. Okay. Start now. So I've got my picture of my streaking blood. First of all, take the padlock off. Quick selection tool. Select backspace. Okay, so go around, select the white areas. We're going to remove them all. Again, you guys should take a bit of time and do this properly. I'm doing a really quick job. So I'm selecting the area, hitting backspace, and the area is becoming transparent. So we're going to layer this on top of our face. When you do it, I expect you to be zooming in and doing this properly. But because this is just a quick video to help you guys, I'm doing it quick. And I think that'll do. It's not very good. Okay, next, before we move it over, I'm just going to crop it. So select your crop tool. I only did this side because I was lazy. So crop it. That's all I want. So select the move tool and move it over to our girl and put it down. So here is another layer. So maybe if we had just had it going over half her face. Alright. As you can see, I've got all this white stuff and it looks absolutely terrible, so do a proper job. First thing you want to do is change the opacity to maybe that. Might just I'm not sure if I like this. We'll stay with it. And that's it. So we've got a bit of blood happening. Alright, next we're going to change her eyes. So down here in the layer panel, select create a new layer. Select the quick selection tool, zoom in. Now you see the brown or the amber? With the quick selection tool, select it like I have. Go down here and create a layer mask and add a clipping mask, and then select from the yin yang hue and saturation, and this did not work. So we have a problem. It's changing the hue and the saturation of the entire image, which is really not what we want, even though making it a bit green at the end might be alright. So, quick selection tool, delete all that. Starting again. So zooming in, grab the eye, and simply create a clipping mask, and then go for your hue and your saturation, and hopefully this will just change the colour of the eye. That's looking a little bit eviler, but yeah, you don't want too bright. It's a zombie. Alright, there's eye number 1. Moving over, new layer. We should label that. So that's the left eye. This is the right eye. And this was our blood. Always good to label it. Alright, so select the layer, select the quick selection tool. I'm going to go in for this. That'll do it. Same again, selection button, create a clipping mask, yin yang, hue saturation, and we might go, that's a bit hideous. You can zoom out and have a look. Oh, you have a play. I like that. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is these teeth. She still has pearly whites, which is not going to be the case for a little zombie. So it's new layer. Let's call it T1 because we're going to do them one at a time. So yeah, I just want one tooth, so minus. There's one tooth. Same again, menu, create a clipping mask. Now we might make this, just want to go a bit grey. So grab maybe one of these two purples, take all the colour out of it, and make it dark. We're going to get some mangy looking teeth happening. Alright, that'll do. Moving on to the next tooth. Well, you guys get the gist, you can move on to the next tooth. So file, save. What you could do is grab a paintbrush, make it really small. Really small. Maybe 2 or 3, whichever one comes up. Alright, so I'm going to zoom in as far as I can go here, so I can see the pixels. And I am going to change it to 1, I think. 1 pixel. And I'm just going to select black. And I'm going to colour in. That's not colouring in. So we might grab a new layer. And it is working, but the colour's changed. So we want opacity to be 100. Layer, normal, darken. There we go. So just to highlight black areas between the teeth. Not spending much time. There's another tooth and start. There's an area there. Let's make it really, really black. Go in here. Go for that. Yeah, it's looking pretty terrible. So we can do a bit more of that. We can give her a few little holes in her teeth. There you have it. A zombie. Now you can keep going. File open. Grab another picture, maybe this one. Take the padlock off. Pick it up. Walk it over. Drop it down. I like these exposed areas, so we'll just whack those in quickly. Might stick them up here actually. So change the opacity. So I want those holes to kind of stand out. So we'll see how that goes. Same deal again. I'll click the tick button. This one. So grab the rubber. And just to the edges. And I'll grab a really soft brush. So we do have a soft one already. Like this. Make it a bigger brush. I'm just doing one hit on the bottom. There you go. And you can do this all day. See our rusty bits that we had down here? Didn't notice, but it's not looking too clear at the moment. So we could stick another one over here. Now we could also play around with more filters at the end. No, I didn't mean to do that. That's no good, obviously. But you guys should experiment and see what you can come up with. So we've got a photo filter here. So cooling. Let's try. Maybe make it a bit darker. You guys experiment. It's your work. But that's it. So if you have any questions, ask me. Don't forget to go File, Save. I'll show you that again. File, Save As. Now remember to always save a copy as a PSD file, which is a Photoshop file. This will enable you to go into it anytime you want and see the edits all down here and make changes. Okay, so save, it's already there, and replace it. See all the layers we have, they will still be there. Now when you hand in your work, I do not want your Photoshop files because they get a bit complicated. I just want you to go File, Save As, and change your format down here to JPEG. JPEG standard is fine. Select Save, it will ask you for the quality, just go maximum. Click OK, and you're done. And now you'll see in my folder which is just here, there will be an example for JPEG and an example for Photoshop. So if I was to click on JPEG, it will open in as just a picture over here. See, there's no editing, there's no Photoshop, it is a picture as if you took it with a camera. It's a very small file as well. You can see the JPEG is 456 kilobytes, whereas the Photoshop file is 49 megabytes. So it is over 100 times bigger. So if I've got 100 of these, that's going to take up a lot of space on my computer, whereas if I've got 100 of these, it's not going to take up much space at all, which is why I want you to give me JPEGs for your final assessment. Thank you very much. Good luck.